Welcome back to Spooky Story Sunday. I skipped Short Story Saturday yesterday because y'all hoes didn't watch the first one. So go enjoy the first one. Yes, y'all hoes. Go enjoy the first one and maybe I'll make a second. Anyway, we're not starting with this because I'm liking this collection more than this one. So let's start with let's end on the one I like the most. Okay, Shadow Show. Now, maybe this is ignorant. Maybe I shouldn't have been. I was very enticed by the cover, and I was very enticed by the different names they had back here of people because this is a collection of different authors. Let me tell you who really made me buy this. Joe Hill piqued my curiosity. Alice Hoffman piqued my curiosity. Dave Eggers and Neil Gaiman. That's how you say it, right? Anyway, they made me want to buy this. But the stories are okay. Like I said about last week, none of them are spooky. Um they're not spooky, and I don't know if Ray Bradbury is usually spooky. This series, this first of all, this one, I think this is for two different. The light is bothering me. The light is really harassing me. The light, this is like the cover for it. It's really beautiful. Is this for one story or both the stories? I feel like this is for the second story I'm about to talk about, and this is for the first one. Because this is not both stories. This is just because the cruise ship is only in one of the stories. This is like The Man Who Forgot Ray Bradbury. It's like a monologue. It's like a monologue in the form of a comic. It's interesting because they're both kind of monologues. It's both like the interior dialogue of just one person. Um, the Man Who Forgot Ray Bradbury. It was fine. This one is by Neil Gaiman. This is why I say I feel kind of ignorant reading this because I haven't read anything by Ray Bradbury. I just and I just feel like if you are already a fan of Ray Bradbury, this is for you. If you are like, oh, let me get into it, not so much, because you're just gonna read it and you're like, okay. It's very referential to everything he's written. So the story is just about, it's like a ongoing monologue. Let me show you. It's an ongoing monologue in comic form of this guy having flashbacks to Ray Bradbury stories. It's this man right here. And he can't remember the name Ray Bradbury, but he remembers all of his stories. And Neil Gaiman was inspired to write this because he had a friend that passed away and he couldn't remember the friend's name. He just remembered the context and the personality of how he knew him and the stories and memories they shared, but he couldn't remember the person's name. And I thought, I'm like, wow, that's an interesting phenomena. So that's why he wrote that. It was okay. It was, if you were already a fan of Ray Bradbury and seeing all of the references to all of his stuff in the monologue, that may have piqued your interest a little bit more than me. I was like, oh, it was fine. It was good. It was okay. Then there was this one, and this is basically about a daughter goes on a cruise trip with her aging father. And this is a reference to a specific Ray Bradbury story. And I'm like, I should have Googled it. I bet if I Googled it, I could find a lot of these stories and compare them. It's too late. I'm already sitting down and filming. But it's based on a story by Ray Bradbury where it's like a parent looking at a child. So she reversed it and made it the daughter looking at her aging father. And she was talking about all the regrets she had in her young life. She has a very millennial life. She dated someone for over a decade. They didn't get married. They didn't have any kids. Her parents are dying. She's lonely. It sounds like a very familiar story. I'm not trying to make fun of this girl, but it sounds like a very familiar story. It's a very sad story. And I'm like, as someone who's 28, I'm like, maybe I need to, maybe I need to pick up the pace, So anyway, to spoil this, am I spoiling the story? Am I going to go ahead and spoil it? No. But it's she looks at her father, who had such a rich and interesting life, and she's like, I wish I could, she has regrets. That's all I'm going to say. spoil it. It's very short. I don't like the illustrations are really ugly. Do you see it? And I was trying to like conceptually understand why they were so ugly. This could like honestly, this one is a really good story. It could have just been just the text. Like this just could have been a regular short story. The the illustrations are so ugly to me. I'm so sorry. And I know that it's probably like obviously done on purpose to be abstract in the way it's put together, but it's like it's just so funky. I just can't get with it. I just didn't like it. Anyway, that's that. Let's talk. I didn't have to throw her. I didn't have to throw the book like that. Let's talk about Shiver. So this one, the second story is actually the titular story, Shiver. It's good. It's good, girl. I might just sit. I should just sit down and read this whole thing. It's good. Every story is good so far. Used Record is still. I still think about that story. And this is kind of like. Is it spoiler to say? I'll say that a picture of the character from Shiver is on the cover. And I won't say which one. Well, is it a spoiler? How much of it is spoiler? Is it light spoiler or heavy spoiler? It's basically a classic, you know, it's a classic cursed object story. So you have this cursed jade carving of a beetle, and it messes people up and makes them like this. Makes them like this guy. I'm just gonna spoil it, I guess. It's really good. It's really creepy. And it has a creepy girl with holes in her arms. This is in like the first section. It's really good. Really creepy. That's it. That's there's not really much to say about this story. It was really good, but there's not much to say about it. That's all. Just this I will say this. I recommend this. I recommend this book. And if you really, really like Ray Bradbury, I guess I recommend this. But if you don't, like I don't, I just wanted to read some of these authors and just get a taste of what their writing is like. It's not really for that. It's really for the Ray Bradbury stan. That's not for the rest of us. This is for the rest. This is for the rest of us. This is for everybody. This is gonna get you into Junji Ito because everyone talks about him, and this book is kind of going to whet your palate to like read the longer ones. So it's good. I love it.